If you're somebody who wants to build a coaching, consulting, or service business, and you want to scale that business to $500,000 a month, and you also want to build your business in such a way that in the end, you're not needed in the business more than 5 hours a week, then this might be very interesting to you, because I'm going to share my story of how I discovered the evolution of building a coaching business. It's the different stages you will meet in building your business. And maybe you're already making 6 or 7 figures, then you just take the parts that are most important to you. When it comes to building a coaching business, I have discovered there are 4 stages when you want to grow to $500,000 a month. Each of these stages have its own set of targets and its own set of problems that you need to be aware of. It's kind of like a computer game. When you are going into the game, you have these levels that you go through. You need to conquer the final mission or the final boss in order to graduate. But until that final boss, there are many other bosses, so to speak, that you need to conquer, or different missions. Here are the 4 different levels that you go through as a coaching company or as an owner of a coaching company. And then there are different challenges within each of these stages. Now, the problems you have in stage 1 are different than the problems you have in stage 3. So when you're just starting out, the first stage of the evolution of building a coaching business is obviously you having $0. You don't even know what you should be selling. Maybe you have an idea. You don't have a website. You don't have a logo. This is the first stage. You're starting at level 0. And you want to get to the end of that level, which is you making $50,000. Now, in order to get there, I would highly recommend that you have somebody else with you on the team who's on a revenue share. So ideally, I know it says 2-3 leaders, but ideally it's 1 to 2 leaders. If you had 3, it's obviously better. But you don't need that many people in the end. Maximum 4 leaders to build a $500,000 a month coaching business, in my experience. You might be starting out with only you. So if that's the case, your goal should be in that first stage to find somebody else that you can share the journey with. And they should have parts in the profits or revenue in some kind of capacity. It could be a sales closer. It could be somebody taking care of your clients in fulfillment department. It could be somebody handling marketing. Usually one of those 3 areas. But assuming you're getting that covered, what are the issues that you will face? Number 1, it will be yourself. In my experience, success is in your business is in direct correlation to the business owner's psychology. 80% of success is mindset. You probably heard of that. I don't know if it's 80 or 79% or 60% or 90%, but I know it is definitely half of the equation. For sure, if not more. Because who you are, instead of mindset, I would say who you are. How do you show up? And there are 5 different components to this. It's about you actually being able to show up and do what's needed. That's step 1. But not only in the business, with your body, with your mind, with your emotions, in your environment. Because if you have toxicity, if you have bad relationships, you have disturbance in your everyday life, it's going to be hard to focus. So you want to have flow in your life. You want to have that feeling of joy that you are actually on a mission. You want to be on a mission and you want to have everything aligned, in my experience. Again, this is just my experience. You can be like, you know what, that's fine. I want to do it another way. But again, after tens of thousands of hours building coaching companies since I was 17 years old, I'm 37. I don't know many people with that kind of experience out there. I know a thing or two about building a coaching company and automating it. I made my first $100,000 when I was 19 years old, and I only had one of these components. I wasn't able to go to, say, level 3 or even staying at level 2 consistently. I was not. Like, I was invited to Norway. I was speaking in front of 150 people. I've learned how to build an incredible offer. Now, we have a whole system on how to build an incredible offer. There are 5 elements to it. I only had, I would say, 2 of them, which is have a gold mine niche, people who truly want what you have to offer. And then I just had an incredible offer. And I was selling it for between $10,000 and $20,000. And I was leaving that seminar with $100K in contracts. I mean, that was a game changer. Had I known what I know now about these stages, I would have been able to go and hold that stage 2, because 100K, as you can see, it's $100,000 a month. I didn't know what to focus on. I didn't know what the problems were, and I was scattered all over the place. Step 1 is mindset and psychology, and actually who you are, I would say. It's more who you are, and it's showing up, doing what's needed. It's also the ability to be absolutely self-aware, and we have 16 questions we ask people to create self-awareness. And you might not have self-awareness, so you got to train that, or you got to get feedback from others. And then you need to be exceptionally fast at executing. That's what I've seen. Like, once I actually went from just thinking about things to immediately just take action, speed of implementation, I learned that the gap between having an idea and execution, the shorter I can make that in general, the more successful I would be as an entrepreneur. The fourth thing is mentorship. If you don't have somebody in your corner right now, that's a huge mistake. I would have saved 10 years of frustration. I would have made tens of millions of dollars more, and I would have achieved real freedom. Instead of just building a business where I'm needed in the business 70 hours, 80 hours, 100 hours every week, I could have built it so it could run without me. So you got to start with the end in mind. Anyways, after talking about who you are, I want to transition now into the offer, because that is truly, let's say that I would say this is the most important thing in your business when it comes to you getting to $50,000 a month in your business, besides you. That is your offer. And when I say offer, it's not just your product, because that's not the offer. I'm talking about the combined offer to the world. That is a lot of things. It is obviously, what niche are you in? Instead of trying to be, let's say, a fitness coach, that's very general. You're competing with millions of coaches. Maybe you are somebody who helps amateurs go pro in MMA fighting, as an example. This is an actual case study of somebody I helped. Or maybe you are helping midlifers regain confidence and control over their life and feel great about themselves. Now, midlifers, women, it could be even women who are in the midlife stage, 40s, 50s, to really feel youthful. See, that's a niche. Now, instead of trying to be a fitness coach, you're now in a niche and you can charge high ticket. And it's like, it's kind of like the saying that if you're specialized in something, you can charge 30 times more than a generalist. If you're a doctor, that's great. Now, if you're specialized into, let's say, neuroscience, and you are operating on kids with a certain disease, that is very, very, very targeted. You can't be the king of all doctors, but you can be the king in that industry, and you don't even have to be the best now in order to maximize. But also, when you specialize, there's a bigger chance for you to be the best, because you should always strive to be the best you can be, not necessarily compete, in my opinion. But I think, having the offer, people really don't understand that just having a great offer, and a lot of times you don't have to do a lot of marketing, you don't have to do a lot of sales, because it's not hard to make $50,000. It's 10 sales if you're charging $5,000. If you're charging $10,000, it's 5 sales. So I would recommend everybody to be in between. If you're a new coach, you should create an offer that is so amazing. Another example, Calisthenics World, Dominic Sky, he came to me, and the team was basically getting me in there to work on the offer, work on the marketing strategy and sales strategy. And we took them from $2,000 a month to multiple 6 figures in 60 days. And they had to call me and say, Neil, let's stop marketing and sales. And that's because I created an offer. I understood the niche so well, the avatar. I talked about the 5 components. So it's actually, you want to have the right niche. Then you want to really understand that niche on an avatar level. Who are they? What are their traits? And then you want to make sure that obviously that your product is amazing, but you need to put that into a unique selling point so you have a USP. You want to have a system that is really unique. So instead of being in a red ocean, this is the red ocean, blue ocean strategy. It's like you want to move out of the red ocean and be in the blue ocean. What is a red ocean? That's when you're competing with everybody else, all the sharks. You want to consider yourself a shark. Maybe you're a fish right now, so you should transition. But there are sharks, and they're competing for the fish, and it's bloody. So that's a metaphor for competition and clients. They are all competing for the same fish, same clients, and that's why there's a lot of blood. It's hard to catch fish. If you go to a blue ocean, now there's no competition, there's no sharks, it's just you. That's the gold mine niche with that system that is unique to you. And then obviously you want to have an amazing offer. That offer should be, let's say you're charging $5,000. It should be on paper worth $15,000, $20,000. And you should be able to justify. And that's what I did with Dominic's guy. So we created this program. He was going from selling these $200 programs to $12,000. Imagine that. And people were happy. And a lot of times people feel like they're not good enough or they don't have enough experience, but you just need to be one step in front of your client. And then you need to have great systems and processes, a great marketing message, which is the last part of building that incredible offer. You want 20 words in a hook and 60 words in a general marketing message. That is what I've done again and again and again. And you create your content from that, you create your material, you create your ads, and it's amazing. So I would say that's right there, you and the offer is probably 70, 80% of the game from 0 to 50K. And then, of course, you need to have some organic traffic coming to you. So you don't spend money on advertising because you want to validate your offer. You want to validate your business concept. You want to show that this is possible without spending money. And you want to fine-tune your sales process. So when you actually spend money, you are more efficient with the dollar you put in. And then lastly, you are starting now to create SOPs, standard operating procedures. So you're starting to document what you're doing in the different departments. And really, I like to say there are only 4 important departments in a coaching company. There could be more. But if we're talking about the way I run it, it's marketing, there is sales, there is delivery, which is fulfillment, delivering to your clients. And then there is accounting, legal stuff, and all that stuff. And you could consider there's a fifth department, which is daily operations, but that is within those 4 things. So a lot of people want to complicate and say there are 12 departments, 24, 18. I think that's right for big companies. When we're talking about only making $6 million a year, it is very simple. It's very easy. There are only 6 problems. And within those 6 problems, you probably heard me say there's 22 other problems you need to fix, and that's it. But you're slowly building your audience, as I said, and you're writing everything down. So in the appointment setting, how is that working out? How are you creating leads? Why? Because you want to document everything in a book. Why is McDonald's the same in Asia as it is in Europe, as it is in the States? I mean, there are varieties to the different territories, but in general, the hamburger, cheeseburger, it tastes the same. The business is the same. Why? Because they have put this business in a box. And that's what we have done for people who want to learn how to build a coaching company and take it to $500,000 a month and automate it. And the reason why we can do that is because we have documented everything. There's not a single thing that anyone in our company is doing that is not in writing. Why? Because when it is in writing, you can onboard people better, you can teach people better, you can manage people better, and this is the key thing. So once you've fixed, I would say, the offer, you go and look at the organic traffic, you go and look at starting your SOPs, and then now you are ready to stage 2. You're ready for stage 2. What is stage 2? Stage 2 is you going from $50,000 to $100,000 a month. Now, a lot of times you're not going directly to $100,000. You might be staying at $50K a month for 3 months, and then you fix the thing that's going to take you to $100K. And in my experience, it's client outreach. The more time you spend on client outreach, the more money you make. It's obvious. One mistake I did once was I started this company and we did amazing outreach. And this was actually cold outreach. We're not recommending cold outreach necessarily. It could be organic. What is that? That's when you're creating content and people coming to you and then you reach out to them. But anyways, we were building this company and we were sending a couple of thousand cold DMs, and that was in a span of 3-4 weeks. And then we got a lot of clients. We made 6 figures. And then we stopped marketing. So now we had to follow these people, and we didn't have the option to get more clients. What you want to do is you want to build your business in such a way that you can fulfill to your clients while you're scaling your company. That's the important thing. If you're not doing that, then what's going to happen is you're going to, and I've seen that in so many business owners, I've experienced it myself, you have this spurge, or what's the English word for it? You have this growth, explosive growth, immediately that's coming into your business. Boom. And then it goes down, and then you have 1 or 2 months that's going down, or 3 months, and then boom, going up. No, you want that consistency. That's what you want. And that's hard for a lot of people because they don't know how to do it. They don't know what problems they should be solving. But the key problems you should be solving in stage 2, I would say, is increased client outreach. Increased client outreach. And when we did that, obviously we made more money. And the more people you talk to, the more money you make if your systems are great, your process is great. And that's what you're refining in stage one as well. But you're improving your investment funnel. So maybe now you are making every 20 people who is following you, every time you have 20 people going into your Facebook group, or every time you have 20 people following you on Instagram or whatever channel you're on, maybe you're on YouTube, you are on X. I'm just using 20 because that's a great example for Facebook and Instagram. And you're making a sale for every 20 person. You want to see, how can I get every 15 person to actually buy my stuff? And then how can I get every 10 person to buy my stuff? So in the beginning, it could be that only every 1 out of 30 is buying your stuff. Well, then how do I get 1 out of 20 to buy my stuff? And you tweak the investment funnel. What is the investment funnel? By now, you should be knowing that it's a funnel. It's a series of content and communication that's happening over a period of time where you're getting the client to invest into their own growth. How do they invest? They invest emotionally and with their time in you. And every time they learn something new and they show that they want it, you reward them with more teaching and learning. And you do this for free. The investment funnel, I would say the average turnaround on a client we have is about 2.5 weeks. But the investment funnel can also produce clients literally in 72 hours, sometimes 48 hours. So nobody knew about you. They're following you on Instagram, and boom, 48 hours, they have spent $5,000 with you. That is definitely possible when you use the investment funnel. But when you're scaling for longevity, you want it to take time, and you want people to win. So you want to treat them like they have paid $10,000, but they have paid zero. And you're treating them so greatly. How do you do that? We have a whole process and systems for this. And I just want you to understand the investment funnel is important. You can go and watch a video. We've created an interview between Lucas, my business partner, and I, where we go in depth with the investment funnel, if you haven't watched that. And what I would also recommend, if anything during this presentation connects with you and you're fired up and you want to make a difference for yourself, the people you care about, you want to create something amazing that produces value and sets you free ultimately. At any time you feel that fire, feel free to reach out to our team and apply to get into our 500K Blueprint program, which is basically helping you with your business, helping you. It's like having a business partner all of a sudden who's going to show you the ropes with everything. But for now, I want you to just understand that the investment funnel is important. Like in our program, we give you the investment funnel. You can just copy it, literally, boom. Anyways, you want to refine your sales process, as I wrote here, and you want to simplify and optimize operation systems and automations. So now you're not sending contracts out manually. You are not filling in Excel sheets manually. Every time a sale happens, it goes into your monthly overview. You're not, onboarding people manually. You have a person who is doing that for you. These things are very easy to automate. There are other things as well, but you want as many things to be automated. You have, of course, the normal stuff with the email sequences, but there's about 2 dozen of things that you need to automate. Now you're ready for stage 3. By the way, just a note on stage 2, 2 notes. One is you should be looking for that second person. So in stage 1, you got the first person involved on your team. In stage 2, you want to get that second person involved on revenue share. So it could be, again, a closer, somebody in marketing, somebody who helps you with delivery, fulfillment, a head coach, somebody who can build community and basically what you want to do is you want to now hire people, spend money to save time, your own time. So in the beginning, you might have 5 hats on and you're doing everything. What you want is you want to get somebody in and then they're taking 20% off your plate. And then you get another one in, and they're taking 30% off your plate. You want to get a third person in, and now they're taking a 30% off your plate. That is how it should be. Leaders are great in that way that they can hire their own people. So they can have 10 people under them, 5 people under them, 3 people under them. And you're teaching them how to do that as we go, or you're learning together. But the most important thing is getting those leaders. So at stage 2, ideally you have a second leader. If you're somebody making now $100,000 a month, but you don't have 2 leaders on your team that you can rely on, and those 2 people at least should be taking care of 50% of your business, then you have an issue. I mean, with 2 great leaders, they can actually take care of 80% of the business if you have 2 great leaders. So now we go to stage 3. And stage 3 is really about scaling up to $100,000 to $200,000 a month. Now is where paid ads is crucial. A lot of people start paid ads too early or too late. You want to do it around. I would never recommend anybody to use paid ads before you made your first $100,000 cash. But you could even scale when you have $100,000 a month consistently. Now, it depends on the business, the industry. There's a few things we have to look at, but anywhere between $100,000 to $1 million. We didn't use paid ads before we made $1 million in our business. The reason for that is you really get an understanding of your audience and you maximize organic. You get good at creating content. You maximize your sales process. So instead of wasting money on ads, and then there are things you need to tweak in your sales process, the only thing you're wasting now is your time. And when you're beginning a business, your leverage is you have time. So you can spend all the hours you want into, trying out things, what works, what doesn't work. Whereas if you do that when you're spending money, that is probably not the best idea. I would say stage 3, 80% of stage 3 is ads. Because you now have in stage 1 and 2, you build an offer that's great, a marketing message that resonates with the people. You have organic down, so your sales process works, your investment funnel is great. Things are happening. You have a couple of people on your team. So now like you can spend time on what's most needed. And the only thing that really needs to happen for you to scale your business is most likely you just having to get leads. Now, assuming you have a great product, assuming you built an offer that's scalable. Sometimes people build offers that are not scalable. You want to be able to take it. If you truly got 1,000 clients next month, could you fulfill to them? Those are the things you got to consider. You need to know what is your max capacity. Like, can I take in 80 people a month? Can I take in 60 people a month? What does it require? How many man hours? What kind of team? Like what are the processes they need to go through? What systems do we have in place to make sure that everybody gets amazing support, right? Because there's different things to create a different, a product that you need to consider. Is the one-on-one support, it's the live weekly trainings, it's the curriculum, it's the community. But let's assume you have that locked in because you focused on that in stage 1 and 3. And by the way, how many months on this? I would say for us, on average, it takes about anywhere between 3 to 6 months to get to, stage 3 consistently. And that's a great place to be. So if you're making $200,000, like in our last business, CPA Trading Academy, we started in late February. In August, we had made our first 200K. So how many months is that? That's about 6 months. But that was our first month. So we jumped from, making 50K the first month and the second month. And we had like 3 months around that level. And then what happened was we had one killer month that was like $90,000. And then we went down to 50K, and then boom, we went to about $200,000. And the reason why that happened was because we introduced a low ticket offer as well. So we're spending a little money. Actually, at this point when we introduced this, we were not running ads. The first masterclass we did, it's a small event where it's a system that you can give away for free to people. It's an experience. So we like to make 5-day or 7-day experiences. We go live 2 hours a day. There are missions. There's a community built. There's hype around it. And we get several hundred people on these live events. And then, some people call them master classes, challenges, whatever. But you create these events, and then out of these events, you should at least convert 10% of the people who show up for these events. So if you have 1,000 people, you can convert 100 people. And if you're selling something for $5,000, now you're making $500,000 a month. And you could do it every single month. We did the mistake of not doing it every single month in the beginning. We did it every 3 months. So we introduced a low ticket offer. We made the mistake of not having the low ticket offer every month, I would say. It was not a mistake. It was a learning experience. And then we should have just been faster on ads in our case. But, everybody has their own story. I would say you could get to level 4 easily and automate everything. I would say if you are an absolute pro and you're doing everything right, you can get there in 6 months. You can literally build a $500,000 a month business in 6 months. Now, it's very few people who's going to do that. We're going to show you how it's possible. I would say the average time would probably be about 18 months. But think about it. 18 months is going to pass. Like, you can't even get an education in 18 months. You can't become a nurse. You can't become a doctor. You can't become a carpenter. You can't become an electrician. You can't become anything in life with 18 months that's worthwhile. You can probably not even be a chef. Thinking that 18 months is a long time, I think, is a very immature mindset. So hopefully you don't have that. 18 months, when we're considering that you will also be outside of the business, so you're only spending 5 hours a week, would be a huge success for 99.9% of people out there. Now, can it take longer? Sure. Could it take 24 months? Yes. Could it take longer? I would say that depends on how committed you are and what skills you lack. Because this is also based on that you actually have a skill set. Let's say you're somebody who don't have a skill set. You don't have a coaching business to create. You want to create a service business. Maybe you want to create a you want to run social media marketing for other businesses. That's a huge business. Or you want to optimize businesses with AI. Did you know if you could just like help other businesses with their AI, how to implement it so their business could make more money? If you're right now in a situation where you're considering what should I get into, anything that can help other people make more money, especially businesses, people will pay money for that every single day. They don't care how much money. If I can pay you $20,000 a month, but I know that I get $100,000 back, or $50,000, or even $40,000, heck, even $30,000, I would do it. So if you can save people time, if you can make sure people make money, one of those two things for other businesses, that's great. So, being a specialist in Facebook ads, in YouTube ads for a specific industry, for instance, or niche, and you're helping people set up these events, for instance, that could be an example. But that is for maybe only a couple of percentages of you. Like most of you already have a skill set, or you already have a business, or you want to start one around your skill set. So I'm assuming that you are great at what you're doing. And again, you don't need to be the best, for instance, in day trading. You don't need to be the best day trader to be the best teacher. Like somebody who's making, let's say, example, $10,000 a month could be a way better teacher than somebody making $5 million a month. Because it's really about the systems, processes, and the team that you build. So you can consistently scale up and deliver results. Because at the end of the day, it's not most people, well, a lot of people want money, but do you know how many people would just invest with you if you could teach them how to make $3,000 to $5,000 extra a month? There would be people standing in line, millions of people worldwide. Why? Because they're stuck in their 9 to 5. You're giving them location freedom, and that's a part of their dream. So your dream is not their dream. Just meet people at where they are. The reason why I say this is because you just need to be really great. I'm assuming you're great at being one step in front of them. That's it. So if you're not that, it's going to obviously take you some time, take you those hours. They say 10,000 hours is where you achieve mastery. And if you're working 50 hours a week on something, I guess that's about, what is that? That's a lot of hours. First of all, that's a lot of hours. But that's, if you're working 50 hours a week and there's 50 weeks, that's 2,500 hours a year. So after 4 years, you have achieved true mastery in something if you really had that mindset from the beginning and you're always learning. Just keep that in mind. Now, if you're not there, it might take you a little longer than 18 months. With that said, let's jump to stage 4. But actually, before I do that, let's talk about building your team. You're really starting to hiring and outsourcing tasks. Now, obviously, you did that already in stage 2, maybe even in stage 1. But at this point now, you're really trying to get everybody to do what you're doing, like literally everything. And everything should be written down. And at this point, you could be the daily manager and you can go and help people. So now instead of the business relying on you, you're the support guy. Now, you might even be working 70 hours a week just supporting everybody. And that's in stage 4, where you're releasing yourself completely by delegating leadership. So you're really cultivating your culture. First of all, what is it you stand for? What are the rules? And you need to really micromanage in the beginning every single detail that you care about. And then obviously the leaders you have, they have their own genius and their own brilliance, and they will set their own standards, but it's based on a common value set that you are building. For us, it's speed, it's teamwork and communication. We're very direct. Like, I don't want to be in a situation in a company where I can't give feedback. And I give feedback on everything. If there's one slight thing I'm annoyed about, I give feedback in the beginning, because then they can learn. If you don't tell people what it is you're not satisfied with, and if you don't show them how things are done right, then people are not going to be able to do it at the level that you want to. And by the way, consider that everything does not need to be done 100% at the level you could do. If it's done 70% of the level you could do it, but you could remove yourself completely from the business, that's a great investment. And by the way, another thing you're doing at this stage where you're making $200,000 to $500,000 is I really highly recommend to introduce another high ticket offer. See, a lot of people think they need a lot of products. You only need one product to scale to $1 million a year. One. That's it. One product. It could be $5,000, $3,000, $7,000, $10,000. You need something in that range, in my experience. That's the sweet spot. Because that's only, like, if you're doing 5K, it's only 200 clients a year. That's not even a client a day. It's one sale that needs to happen almost every, 2 sales every, I would say 3 days or something. 3 sales every 5 days. So another way to put it, maybe 4 sales every week. It's actually 4 sales a week. That's it. Then you're having $1 million in revenue every single year. So don't complicate it. Don't have many products. But once you've actually got to the level where you made your first, you're now making $200,000 a month, then you can consider adding in another program. And this program is for the people who joined your first program. So remember, we talked about the low ticket, $100 or free. So this is the event in stage 3. Now, you could charge money. We've actually experimented charging $100, $300. We find that giving it away for free is nice and has the highest conversion for some reason. It's slightly bigger, but you could charge $100. But I would just recommend doing it for free and then have a high ticket, 5,000, again, 3,000 to 10,000, and then have something in the back end. So once they finish the program, by the way, the length of the program, 12 to 16 weeks, is the sweet spot in my experience. And you want at least 20% of people who graduate your first program to get upsold to the second one. They're so happy that they actually show that with investing again with you. That is great. Now, our conversion rate at the moment is 35%, between 30 to 40%. And that's really world class, and that's where you want to be. So if you have a system, imagine you're not even going to work. You're going on vacation, you're going out with your girlfriend, or you are just literally working on what matters to you. You look at your phone and you're making money. You're making $15,000 a day on average, and people are buying your program, and they're buying the next thing after, and everything is running without you spending more than 5 hours a week. That could be your reality, but you need to focus on these 4 things. At the end, you want 3 leaders as a minimum. You want 3 leaders to operate your business. I would say that is the average. You could have 4, and it doesn't mean that you can't have other great people. Like, for instance, with CBH Trading Academy, we have 3 leaders besides me, but we also have an employee who's not on revenue share, who is very good at his job, and we would consider him a leader. And also in the sales department, we have a person there who's really, can run without too much management, but they are not responsible for the whole department. So you obviously always want great people, but you want 3 leaders. How many people on your team? I would say anywhere between, it depends on how many you have part-time, full-time, but anywhere between 10 and 20. But again, all the hassle is removed from you. You are not responsible for that in the day-to-day. Now, you are responsible for everything in your business, but not in the day-to-day. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the evolution of building a coaching business from startup to scaling to $500,000 a month. So my challenge to you is identify which stage you're in, and then set a challenge up for yourself and say, I want to graduate this stage within the next 90 days. Because you could literally do that. That is my challenge. If you want help with that, reach out to our team and see if you can actually become a part of our program. Now, we are very, very specific with who is a great match, but I would say if you are on the edge of like, should I do this, should I not do it, give it a shot. Because at the end of the day, no matter what, we will leave you better off than we found you. That is our marketing and sales strategy. We want to add 10 times more value than anybody else. So we also like to consult people on their issues if they're applying. So if you think this sounds interesting, then you know what to do, and thank you for today. Ciao.